Hey Taryn, this is Scott. Here's the Acolyte from Vader's Vault. Um, just to give you a little, let you see it from every angle and everything. It's just machine finish. Um, so there's, it's almost brushed, but finer. It's pretty reflective, though. Brushing would dull it. Anyways, just machine finish with a black 12mm AV switch here, anti-vandal switch, that lights up blue.
Nightfall.
Oops, that's not even the right font.
Revolt. Did you see TK2131 yesterday? Sometimes I think that guy's a copy of a copy of a copy.
So those are the boot sounds for each font, and I'm pressing and holding the auxiliary button for about a second to until it beeps, and then that progresses the font forward.
Did you see TK2131 yesterday?
Oops.
Sometimes I think that guy's a copy of a copy of a copy.
The kill time is real short on this one.
Youngling.
The deep sleep mode time happens after about 3 whole seconds. I put it real short. You do it in milliseconds, so I think I underestimated something and didn't calculate it wrong. Didn't mean to have it be 3 seconds, but that just saves battery life. I haven't charged this in a long time, and the battery's still been good in there. It's I'll show you the battery. It's I'm not sure exactly what brand, but it's an 18650 15 amp high drain, which is what you want for neopixels. So there's the connectors in the emitter that those are pogo pins. I won't touch them just because I don't want them to tarnish, but they're brass. But they're pogo pins which go in, so they're not going to get damaged. The plastic there holds it. They're poking through it, and that's secured with those 2 screws. So it's not. It's super steady, and that's the custom saber shop method, which is more than adequate, super duper sturdy. In addition to holding there's a PCB, a little bit of circuit board on behind that, a little circle behind the black there, with the pins, and the pins go through a piece of plastic to hold them in place. And that piece of plastic is held by the set screw right here. So you're pushing the blade when you put it in, the pressure is pushing against this, the plastic piece, not the pins themselves. And this is the little thumb screw. I just added on instead of having to use an Allen wrench. It's just a lot easier, and I thought it fit nice. It's about 12 millimeters, so I thought it looked decent. And it has it's made of nylon, the whole screw, even the threaded part, and it has a diamond, a fine diamond knurl to it, I guess you'd call it, but it's nylon, so it's kind of comes off white. It's like too thin, but if you put some WD-40 on that or something like that, if you have, if it even bothers you, you could. They're just not very they're not very cleaned up, I guess. After the knurling happens to the nylon, they didn't clean it up at all. Anyways, so this is the little shroud over the emitter, which goes all the way down, which is cool. This part, at least. It's fixed with these, I think they're called spanners screws. Yeah, pretty sure, spanner screw. Okay, so here's the thin neck. I generally hold it around just with my, holding the thinner part of it with the shoulder kind of in my palm. And these are, the grip section has these rectangular areas raised with these, lower channels going through horizontally. So I just put this rubber grip tape that's actually made for putting on firearms, like pistol grip, actual rubber grip with this super strong, not super strong, but super tacky adhesive. So it's not going to move from any pressure. You can peel it off if you want, and it doesn't leave any residue. Or if it does, you can just rub it right off. You know, it's not like permanently bonded to the metal or anything. It's just super tacky. But it's designed for firearms, and so the amount of shock is going to be like, you know, maybe comparable if you're going to be doing full scale dueling with it. Anyways, I put them on there a while ago, so they've kind of worn the little pieces. It's rubber that just like they kind of spray it. I'm not sure exactly how, but it randomly kind of congeals to make this actual, just truly random, kind of organic looking leather-ish pattern. So the edges kind of come off. You can kind of see on some of them. The edges are uneven, but it feels real smooth. It feels like a little bump and then a little valley. You don't feel the edge very much on your hands. It's super, very 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 sturdy. And it's sturdy if you hold it, but it's not tacky on the outside. The glue behind it is tacky, but these grips aren't tacky. They don't like hold anything. They don't hold like lint or anything. They don't stick themselves. They're not going to get like dusty and disgusting after a while. I like them. I'm pretty sure these are Talon brand. If you want to get more or anything like that, Talon brand firearm grip. So here's the pommel with the vents for the 22mm speaker, and it has a hole. It came with a D-ring on it. I'll put it back on there when I send it to you, just so you get the whole package. They're easy to take off. Or I'll ask you if you want me to put one on there actually. But there it is. So let me pause this, and I will take the pommel off and take the chassis out and show you what you want to do to take the chassis out. Actually, here, I'll just pause it first. Okay, so here's the pommel with the threads. It just screws right in there. Just unscrew it, counterclockwise, just like normal. And there's the speaker, which is a real nice 22mm, I believe. Yeah, 22 it looks like. It's not a 20. And it's technically a flat speaker, like a premium, quote unquote premium speaker, not a high bass speaker. But it has, this particular brand they use has a real good medium growl to it. It's not very bassy, but it's noticeably tenor, maybe. You know what I mean? Not maybe like not baritone, but maybe tenor. Not super low, but a little. Anyways, I'll show you. To take the chassis out, the idea is you hold it kind of like this, and then hit it against like your hand against your wrist, and the chassis will pop out, like you're shaking it out. But if you stop your arm, then the the chassis comes out from the inertia. So I'll do that. Okay, so it comes out a little bit, and it's pretty snug in there, friction fit. There's the board. It's like, after you hit it against your wrist, so then you just pull it out with your fingers more. It's fine. Just try not to touch the board. You don't really have to, and don't poke the speaker. You can touch it, I guess, but best not to poke it usually, of course. Okay, so now the chassis is out more, and it's just in there with wires that they twist real tight and put some, it looks like hot glue or E6000 or something like that. So all the wires are twisted up there real nicely. So you generally don't want to twist it at all. And sometimes I'll just let the wires relax, whatever direction they want to relax into. I'll kind of twist it maybe a half a turn or so. But you don't want to be changing the orientation away from about where it is, which is just about where it wants to be, where the wires are like at rest, is just about at 6 o'clock to the button, right at the auxiliary button. Just FYI. This particular one. So you pull it out, and then low battery. Okay. You pull it out that far, and then you can use what is a Lego tool, is what people have found to be the best tool to do it, to poke right in here between the chassis and the battery to get it to pop out. So I'll do that a tiny bit and show you how to do that. Okay, so yeah, you just pop it in the middle of the battery and just, the chassis will do the flexing, the battery shouldn't flex. And it'll come out, positive side up, negative side towards the board and speaker, towards the pommel, down. And always remember that, positive forward, negative backwards. I think this board, the Plector Labs Crystal Shard 4.5, I'm pretty sure this one has reverse polarity protection. Maybe for a second or two, it might not totally destroy the board to put it in wrong and be like, oh shoot. I think I've done that to one of my other Vader's Vault Sabers with the same board, and it's been okay. But as a rule, you always want to put batteries in the right way, of course. So positive forward, minus back. Same with any lightsaber. Oh, and this is the Vader's Vault brand, their own. There it is in the Arabesh. 18650, 3120 milliamp hours, 15 amp discharge. And it's 3.7 volt, so you want to charge it on 4.2, up to 4.2, but it's a 3.7 volt. So that's their normal battery now, because neopixel is kind of standard. Keeps rolling. Okay, so here's the board itself, the Crystal Shard 4.5. It has 16 swings, 16 clashes. You can look up the manual if you want to know like all the technical details about it. It's probably a good idea to read it, RTFM as they say, with computer stuff. But it really will tell you how to customize everything about it. So, I mean, I won't go over it here. I'm just going to refer you to the Plector Labs website. You can just look for Plector Crystal Shard 4.5 manual. And you'll find the website, and it's under the documents on the left side of the Plector website. But to change anything about it, you have to pop the battery out, and then the SD card is here. And the board is secured with a screw right in this corner, and that's the only thing really holding it on. So you can kind of manipulate it if you need, as you need to get the SD card out. But you should only have to, only move it a tiny bit, and then I usually like to move it back and just touch the sides of the board. Try not to make contacts, make shorts happen by connecting anything with your finger. But these are good boards, and they're in good, they're, like I said, they're the 4.5 generation, so they know what they're doing about people being able to just totally ruin their experience by simply touching something. But again, as a rule, you don't want to be sticking your finger everywhere. Okay, and one other thing about putting the battery in, this particular battery and this particular chassis, all the wires are running underneath here, and of course they have done 1,000 sabers by now, or however many. So they're all basically the same, but they all have a little bit different, just the placement of the wires, just exactly where they're sitting, which is what the battery's resting upon. There's electrical tape, so it's totally fine, but orientation wise they're going to be slightly different. This particular battery with this particular hilt, I put the sticker part down, and you can see it goes down, so that's the Lego tool getting there, so that's just a sticker, it doesn't matter. But you see here, this is from me putting it sticker up, and the top of the hilt, the corner there, right here, was pulling on that. So it totally clears it. If I guess the clearance is however thick this sticker is, because if you put it down, it clears. That's all. Sticker down for this one. Okay, so you got the battery back in. The board will boot up, but again, I put the deep sleep at like 3 seconds, so it's back asleep now. Here's the speaker again. I'll hit that with some canned air. It has a magnet behind it, so that's just little pieces of metal that have accumulated. But anyways, to put it back in, you see it pulled itself in there a second, a little bit there, just the tension of the wires. So like I said, a little half turn, and it comes back to about the top of it. 12 o'clock from the AV button. And at this point, you can push it in as far as you can with your fingers, without touching the speaker, of course, like that on the corners. And then from here, you want to just use the rim of the chassis, or the pommel. This top face will push against that, and hard to describe, but there you go. Once you get it there, you can use the pommel to do the camera. There it goes. Push down a little bit, and then just start threading it in. And I used some nice grease, a lot of it. So you thread in, and it'll the resistance you're feeling is the chassis getting pushed in more. It's not like the threads crossing or anything. And you can check that by unscrewing it. It'll be super nice and super loose. But then it locks in place easily, because the pressure again against the chassis too is holding it. It's not just aluminum on aluminum. You're not like smashing it together. Okay, so it's back assembled. Everything's back in one piece. You can boot it.
Youngling.
You can change fonts.
The Old Republic malign.
Acolyte.
Okay, so we're back to Acolyte, which is the name of the saber, and that's Vader's Vault's. Vader's Vault, 'S, brand, custom font for this saber. All their sabers have a custom font made by, I believe it's Lord Blako. Sorry, excuse me if I'm incorrect, but he makes some great fonts, and I like the Acolyte one. I'll show it to you right now. But all the other fonts so far, those are just the standard Crystal Shard, Crystal Focus 9, I think, package. Which again is just on the Plector Labs website. You can just get any of the standard packages. They just might have features that your board can or can't do depending. But now with the Crystal Focus 10 releasing, I think it comes with 16 instead of 8 or 12 on the previous Crystal Shard edition on 9. So we're on 10 now, which has a lot more. So I'll update the SD card with all the standard new fonts, and I'm sure they'll be similar. Okay, so I'll show you the fonts and talk about the big feature of this board, which is the pitch shift. Pitch shift. So you turn the board on, and it finds whatever orientation, whatever angle you're holding it to. It kind of bends to it. So if I tip So if I tip it up, so the idea is that it even though there are only a limited number of sounds that you'll hear coming from it, it modulates each of those sounds depending on what you're doing. So it really adds a lot of versatility to it, if you ask me. To the sound mods, I really like the feature. It's really pronounced. You can adjust the how much of a pitch shift there is based on the angle. And then this one's on their stock setting, how they had it. I got this from a ready to ship sale, as they call it. So this one particular hilt was one that instead of ordering it and waiting the 22 some odd weeks for them to build it for you, this one was ready to ship, and excuse me, that just means it's one that they had built for display purposes, like at a convention or something like that. So other people have held this before me, but it hasn't been used at all. They still sold it as brand new. You know, it's not like damaged in any way. But I thought that was, I'm corny. My first saber from Vader's Vault was a RTS. At the end of it, that no one wanted, a little purple one that no one really wanted. So I adopted that one. You know, the sad puppy no one wanted. But that just adds to the story to me. But I haven't dueled with it either. I've only spun around, you know, and played a little bit, and really not even that much with it. Like I said, the battery's still charged and everything. But it's totally undamaged, like finish wise. Those are fingerprints, but like the actual finish is still pretty pristine. And I'll clean it off. All the gunk is just like from my hands, but these are again just from spinning, holding it about right here. This is a shoulder, but they're super careful about chamfering everything, and it you can feel there's an edge there, but it's super comfortable and very tactile. If you're not wearing gloves, especially, it feels great to hold right there. I wouldn't be worried about someone hitting the blade with my hands here. I wouldn't be worried about the vibration of all that being transferred directly to my fingers here. Even though I can feel the edge. They did a really great job engineering that aspect of it. Let's see what else there's to say. Not much. I'll pop the blade in now, which is well, here's the one I'll use in one bag. And here's the one I'll send to you, which is a new one that I haven't even opened. So if you want, I mean, I trust Vader's Vault fully, but if you want, I'll unwrap it and pop it in there once and turn it on just to see if all the pixels work, you know, just to make sure it's undamaged. I'm assuming it's pristine. I want to give you a perfect one, you know what I mean? So I'll open it only if you want, but right now I haven't opened it. This is the original masking tape and everything. See, here's the older one, or not older, but the other blade that I have from Vader's Vault. Anyways, I'll pop it in now. So to do that, you just twist this, which comes out pretty easily, and it's only a few screws. It's not I trimmed it real short, so it only needs a few screws a few turns before it absolutely clears that hole. So then you want to take your blade and get it off. Okay. So here's the end of it. Here's the neopixel connector that those pins connect to. And I want to say that's gold, not brass. I want to see if that's gold-plated brass, actually, to make good connections. This is the V2, the second edition, the second generation, I guess, incarnation. V2, they're calling it, of the Custom Saber Shop / Vader's Vault style, which is it's called Plector Pixel because he's the one who came up with all the stuff, and it was a collaboration between a lot of different people in the community, but it's Plector's system. The blades themselves are called Neopixel because that's a brand of LED strip made by Adafruit Industries, and that's their trademarked name for this their types of strip. So it's like the Kleenex, throw me a Coke type, Plector Pixel, Neopixel strips. So it's a Plector Pixel connector system from the custom saber shop in both of them. Those pins to that circle. That's the Plector Pixel connector system. System of doing it. There are a lot of other ways to do it, but this is the one that they've worked out, and it works really nicely. So to put it in, you really just doesn't matter. I'm just holding it with my things because I don't have a third hand, but you just pop it on. And you can just push straight down, and it's a real snug. You can hear the thunk of when it gets in, and it's not gonna move. It really likes to stay where it is. With this inner lip, this top section that goes around it, it's super snug around it. I love it. I think this is a great hilt, and I'm hoping that it gets some good dueling time or spinning, or at least couch saber time. Okay, so you just screw that in, and it's nylon. Generally, with a steel set screw, you wouldn't want to torque it. That's like a problem that people have. People get nice new sabers. Get new sabers for the first time that are from like a nicer company, maybe nicer than Saberforge or Ultra Sabers. One of the smaller ones, and their instinct is to torque this, gorilla tight with your Allen wrench to keep the blade from coming out. But what you really want to do is just go finger tight. That's the general rule. So a thumb screw is perfect for that because you can get very finger tight, but it's not machine tight. You're not using a tool to tighten it. And that's, so I just do it really as much as I can. And I trimmed it to be, it only sticks out about that far with the blade in. Most retention screws are going to stick out a tiny bit just because, you want to be able to turn it more if you need to. If a different blade is in here that will flex more against this and give more going in. Anyways, this is nylon, so you don't have to worry about any of that, and it won't damage the polycarbonate at all. It shouldn't mark it either. It might leave a little scuff, but you can get it off with your fingernails, go like that. And this is lightly sanded. Vader's Vault's blades, they're lightly sanded. Hard to tell, but they go up and down to kind of help the light dissipate. Anyways, here's, after long ado, here's what we're looking for. So that's a flash on clash. It's like if you're fighting someone and they hit, someone hits your blade. And there's the pitch shift too, which is supposed to more confuse your ears than anything, I guess. But everything gets modulated. So if you turn it down here, it slows down everything because it's modulated. It's like a record player, putting your finger on a cassette or whatever. There we go. I'm trying to get it to swing upside down. Anyways, they're just super low if you turn it down, and everything gets higher if you turn it up. So here's the blue button that turns it off, and it extends and retracts. You can see on the monitor. So like I said, to advance the fonts, you push the auxiliary button. Oh, I haven't even shown you the auxiliary effects. So you'll probably be able to see better on the screen, the color, but it's as bright as it is here. There's blaster deflect. It's supposed to be like, you know. And if you hold that, you get this lockup, which is just insane. Like if you're grinding against another blade, you know? Okay, let's see. Oh, okay. So the another big feature is of this board, of this version, the 4.5, is the color selector for your blade is easier. So it's red now, obviously. I'm gonna hold it vertically just for my own sanity. And you click both buttons. It can be at the same time. You can stagger them a little bit, but you click both buttons, and it makes the swing sound, and it turns it into the color selector mode. And as you rotate it, each degree will have a different color associated with it, and then back to red at the 6 o'clock. So you go from wherever you start to, you know, about 180 degrees, and you'll have, or I guess it is 180 degrees from wherever you start for all your color selection. It's hard to tell, but it might be hard to tell on the camera, sorry. But that's really cool. And then once you find the one you want, let's say light blue, you click the auxiliary button again on the back, and then you can tell by the blade flicker again that that's locked in. So now this is a light blue Acolyte with a blue AV switch, like a Jedi's maybe. And if you think the font doesn't suit that anymore, and you turn it off, and you go to the next one just by holding this one for a second.
Nightfall.
So Nightfall, what's this one sound like? Ooh, that's very Sithy, right? That's like a Darth Vader Empire Strikes Back extension. Like Cloud City, you know, evil, sinister. With like a real low, like mellow, but you know, boiling for the hum part. Calm evil, I guess. I don't know. And again, this one, it remembered green is what I had this on last. But let's say I want to make it red. You just do the same thing. Twist it around until you find the color you want. Or yeah, let's make it orange. So you push the auxiliary button again, and now it's orange. There you go. The battery needs to be charged. You can see as I twist it on the monitor, you can see the strips is there, and then that's like in between the strips, because there's two back to back. But in person, you really still can barely notice when it's on a super low battery like this. I didn't realize it was this low. But that's about it. You can make any font that you put on there any color really easily. The fonts are kind of hard. You load them onto the SD card, but you can make it any color you want super duper easily. And that's honestly about it. I'll send these over to you. Sorry, it was kind of like a super long marathon, but that's just about all there is to say about it. I'll definitely message you right now, and I'll let you know if there's anything else I think of. Okay, one thing I forgot was the battery charger. So here's the one I'll send you. It's just new. I haven't opened it. I've never used this one. But here's one that I have used. This is the same one you get from Custom Saber Shop. like I said, just the Plector, they're kind of like a team. Anyways, so it's Trustfire brand, which is fine. It's a smart charger. You want to have it set to 4.2 volts, because that's what a 3.7 volt battery will actually charge to. Not 3 volts. You want it 4.2. And this one's easy because there's only two to, you want 4.2. And you put it in this part. These spring down to however big the battery is, however long it is, which is nice. So you can put like an 18500, no problem. Anyways, you can charge 2 at a time. It'll be, I think, red when they're charging and green when they're done. Yeah. And they won't overcharge your battery, which is very dangerous. There was just a big boat fire for some divers that use these kind of batteries with their flashlights, and that, based on what everything is saying, it seems like that's what was wrong. They weren't using smart chargers. That's my personal theory. Anyways, you just want to make sure that you use this type of charger to charge it. Or if you want to be fancier, you can get yourself one of these type, just like a big boy version of this one, that gives you a readout of all the voltage. You can push a button and see all the different information for each battery. Like I was saying, different sizes. As long as they're 18 size wide diameter. But this is all you actually really need, especially if you only have one battery. This is more for, big, maybe like a big trip that you're taking your sabers to duel or something. Anyways, I'll send you this one with the power cord for it. Just regular power cord just goes in right there. Round on both sides, I think. Yeah. Totally standard one. Anyways, but I'll send you this one. And that is just about it.